Hakuna Matata, what a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata, ain't no passing craze.
It means no worries for the rest of your life.
If you can't change your situation, change your attitude. A simple change of perspective can make all the difference when we face adversity. As adults, it's a good reminder to make the best of difficult situations. But kids don't usually need that same reminder. For better or worse, kids maintain a positive attitude because they may not know that their situation should change or even can change. I spent my childhood bouncing between the Bay Area and Reno. Although Reno always felt more like home. Just before I was born, my father went to prison for the involvement of an armed robbery. For the first 7 years of my life, there was a thick window separating us every time I saw him. I didn't even know what he felt like. As a child, I didn't understand why my father was gone. And it was painful to think that he didn't love me enough to be around. After he was released, I chose not to speak with him for the first 2 years. By then, I was old enough to understand why people went to jail. Over time, I learned that people can change. I forgave my father, but even still, he was rarely around. My siblings were born over the next few years. My brother is 2 years younger than me, and my sister is 3 years younger than me. We lived with our mom and had a lot of other family in the area. Aunts, cousins, uncles, my grandparents. My grandpa James, my mom's dad, became the father figure I was lacking. He had a big influence on me over the years, which is probably why we're so much alike today. We were shy around strangers, but the loud center of attention at home. We love football and the Raiders. He taught me that respect is everything, especially for my elders. He's the quiet leader of our family and the one who is always there, no matter what. When it's a family member's birthday, we gather at his house. When someone has a flat tire, he shows up ready to help. And when my parents stumbled, he was there to pick up the slack. While my dad was still incarcerated, my mom made some poor choices and ended up in jail too. Like always, my grandpa was there. I was only in kindergarten, but I remember him explaining to me that our mom had messed up and that we were going to live with him for a while. Our mom was released 7 months later, but we wouldn't see her again for another 4 years. After she was released, she moved to the Bay Area to live with her mom. We stayed in Reno with our grandparents. Still in the midst of challenges, it's amazing how resilient kids can be. Both of my parents were incarcerated, be it my memory of those days, word of sadness or anger. They were playing video games with my cousins and watching WWE with my grandpa. My best friends lived down the street, and we would play together for hours after school. We weren't supposed to wrestle in the house, but we always did. I had to try out John Cena's new moves. Most of the kids I hung around lived with aunts and grandparents too. They had moms in prisons or dads who just weren't around. It never occurred to us that maybe life could be any different. 4 years passed, and our mom regained custody. She decided to move us to Oakland. I was devastated. I didn't want to leave my whole life behind. My friends, my cousins, and my grandparents. But sometimes we have to do things in life that we don't want to. So we moved away from Reno and started over. I knew everything would be different once we got to Oakland. My mom worked at a warehouse during the day, and my grandma worked the graveyard shift. So usually one was awake at work while the other one was sleeping. Without that consistent adult presence, I stepped up as the man of the house and made sure my siblings were taken care of. Most mornings, I helped my brother and sister get dressed, and we walked to school together. Most mornings, we won't go at all. I helped them with their homework, and I tried to make sure we went to bed on time so we were ready for the next day. I love sports and got myself involved with a football league and a basketball league. I set my brother up for football too, and my sister involved with cheerleading. We all played for the same team, and I made sure that they were at practices and games on time. I didn't think much of it at the time, that maybe other 10-year-olds weren't the main caretaker for their siblings at home. I stepped up because that's what needed to be done. Again, I never considered that maybe things could be different. My favorite part about living in Oakland was the summers we spent back in Reno. We would stay with my grandparents or my aunt, and I couldn't wait to spend my days with my cousins. That's when I was first introduced to the Boys Girls Club. My aunt decided one day that we had to get out the house. I guess she wasn't impressed with our newest WWE moves. The Boys Girls Club wasn't far, so she took me, my two siblings, and my two cousins to try it out. As a sports lover, the Boys Girls Club was heaven. They had huge gyms, outdoor basketball courts, and a big grass field. I spent the whole summer playing football, basketball, or any kind of sport I can get my hands on. We went on field trips to Wild Island and Fly High, where I can run and be a kid. There was something about the club that made me wonder if maybe life could be a little different. I didn't have to be responsible for my brother and sister there. I could just be a kid. As each summer came to an end, it got harder and harder to go back to Oakland. Eventually, my grandma moved out, leaving our mom as the only adult in the house, which meant even more responsibility for me. I continued to look after my siblings and be the best big brother I could be. That was my job now. Day after day, get my siblings to school, to practice, home, and to bed. Then do it all over again the next day. That is, until the day it all changed. We were across the street from my middle school when I seen the police lights flashing behind us. My mom was in the driver's seat. I was in the front seat next to her. My siblings were in the back. The officer came to the window and said something about being called for suspicious activity. He ran the license plate and learned that the car we were driving was stolen. Honestly, this didn't come as a big surprise to me. I'd overheard my mom and her friends talking about stolen cars before. The police arrested her right there in front of my school. They put her in one patrol car and took her to jail. They told us to gather our things from the stolen car and loaded us into the second patrol car. I had to grab all my football gear. I was supposed to play a game later that day. None of our family in California could take us, so we ended up in a foster home in Sacramento. It was as close as they could get us to Reno, while once again, Grandpa James was there. This time, he was working towards permanent guardianship. We stayed with the lady in foster care for a little less than a year. She was nice and took good care of us. It was another little glimpse of that life, the life where I could relax and be a kid. I'll never forget the day we moved back to Reno for good. It was the first day of the summer after my 8th grade year. We pulled into my grandpa's driveway, and I remember feeling like I was finally home. We immediately started attending the Boys Girls Club. I was so excited the night before that I could hardly sleep. I couldn't wait to see all my friends. And now that I was a teen, I can get a whole new club experience. I leaned heavily on the club as I started high school that fall. The experience was overwhelming, and it helped to have the club there for encouragement and a place to do my homework. What really made the club feel like home were my staff, Ben Carter, Ashley Herrera, Tony Herrera, and Oscar Aguilar. Ben and I connected over sports. We were both Celtics fans, and we both like watching professional football. He organized games and tournaments for us in the gym and played video games with me in the teen center. Ashley is a great advisor. She has a way of making me feel comfortable and sharing things on my mind. Usually over a game of Uno. Oscar is a trusted mentor. He holds me to high expectations and reminds me that I'm capable more than I might realize. Tony has become one of my closest friends. We work together in the club's kitchen, and I know I can go to him for anything. I've been back in Reno for more than 2 years now, and I still attend the club every day. It is truly a home away from home. My grandpa understands the importance of that too. He's retired, and we could easily stay with him after school, but instead, every day, after school, he drives us to the Boys and Girls Club on East 9th Street. And when the club closes at 7 o'clock, he's there to pick us up and drive us home. Every single day. I can't thank him enough. Not for just being my chauffeur, but for being the one constant throughout my whole life. Papa, thank you for taking in 3 young kids and starting your parenting journey all over again. You make sure that we are safe and stay out of trouble. And again, I want to thank you for being the one constant throughout my whole life. Just like my grandpa, I'm driven by a desire to give back to others. The club has given me so many opportunities to give back while developing skills like leadership and characteristics. Through the club, I coach flag football, referee a youth basketball league. This year, I'm the president of our Keystone Club. And I lead my peers through different services like fundraising projects. Projects like our Mother's Day brunch, community Thanksgiving dinners, and breakfast with the Easter Bunny. Yeah, I spent some time in that bunny costume. Some kids smiled, others cried. I work in the club kitchen every day and help feed meals throughout my club members. Also became the junior staff and helped run club programs throughout the club and acted as a mentor for our younger members. I take pride in contributing to my club and my community in these ways because my hope is that I am creating a home for someone who might have struggles like mine. Maybe I can help somebody live in the moment, forget their troubles, feel like a kid for a little while. I think all children deserve that. I'm sure you're wondering where I'll go from here. Don't let this beard fool you, okay? I'm only a sophomore. So I don't exactly have my whole future planned just yet. I do know that I will graduate with my class in 2022 and be one of the first in my family to earn a post-secondary degree. I may start a career as an auto mechanic, or maybe as a cook, as I've been inspired by Tony. Regardless of my career path, I know that I will continue to contribute to my club and my community. Over the past 7 years, the club has not only helped me change my attitude, but it has also helped me change my situation. It also guided me toward a better future. I truly believe the club has saved my life. I faced seemingly impossible obstacles that could have led me down so many wrong paths. But thankfully, the club was there when I needed it. I'm the person I am today because of the Boys and Girls Club. Thank you.
Again, one more round of applause for Jaylon and Destiny. Great job, great story. There is no doubt that these two kids are going to be valued to their community, whatever they do, wherever they go. And it's my honor as the Hot August Nights Foundation to be able to grant both of those a scholarship for a 4-year scholarship, each of them. Thank you very much.